Hello and welcome back to Unknown Facts. If you're enjoying our deep dives into the most fascinating corners of our world, please do consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. Today we turn our attention to a sobering reality of our planet: natural disasters. These events, driven by forces far beyond our control, have shaped civilizations and left indelible marks on human history. From volcanic eruptions that plunged the world into darkness to earthquakes that reshaped landscapes in mere minutes, we'll journey through time to explore some of the most catastrophic events ever recorded. Join me as we uncover the science behind these disasters, the devastation they wrought, and the lessons they etched into the collective memory of humankind. On the morning of December 26, 2004, a seemingly ordinary day took a devastating turn. Deep beneath the Indian Ocean, off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia, the Earth's tectonic plates shifted with unimaginable force. This cataclysmic rupture generated a massive earthquake, registering a staggering 9.1 on the Richter scale. But it was the tsunami, a series of monstrous ocean waves, that unleashed the true horror of that day. The tsunami waves, some reaching heights of over 100 feet, crashed into coastlines across the Indian Ocean. From Indonesia to Thailand, Sri Lanka to Somalia, obliterating coastal communities and engulfing entire islands. Over 230,000 lives were lost across 14 countries, making the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history. A stark reminder of the sheer power of nature. Imagine a year where the sun barely shines, a perpetual twilight hangs over the land, and a chilling cold grips the air, even in the heart of summer. This was the grim reality for much of the Northern Hemisphere in 1816, a year that earned the chilling moniker, the year without a summer. The culprit lay on the island of Sumbawa, Indonesia. In April 1815, Mount Tambora erupted, the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history. It ejected 100 cubic kilometers of ash and gases, darkening skies and disrupting global climate. Sulfur dioxide formed aerosols, reflecting sunlight and cooling the planet. 1816 saw unprecedented weather extremes. Crop failures, famine, and social unrest followed. Frost in summer killed crops, causing food shortages. Europe, reeling from the Napoleonic Wars, faced turmoil. The eruption of Mount Tambora reminds us of our planet's interconnectedness and the far-reaching consequences of volcanic activity on global climate and human societies. The year is 1556. In the Shanxi province of China, an empire flourishes under the Ming dynasty. Life, for many, is a rhythm of seasons and traditions. But on the morning of January 23rd, disaster strikes, forever altering the course of history. It begins beneath the Earth's surface. A colossal rupture, unleashing unimaginable energy, tears through the fault lines. The ground surges upward, then plummets, sending shockwaves that ripple outward with terrifying speed. This is the Shanxi earthquake, the deadliest earthquake in human history. Entire cities crumble into ruins, their once proud structures reduced to mounds of rubble. Villages vanish as the earth swallows them whole. Over 830,000 lives are lost, a number almost unimaginable in its scale. The Shanxi earthquake leaves an indelible mark on China, weakening the Ming dynasty and leaving the empire vulnerable to internal strife and external threats. Chapter 4, 1931, The China Floods. The Yangtze and Yellow Rivers, lifelines of Chinese civilization, have nourished and sustained generations. But in 1931, these mighty rivers transformed from sources of life into instruments of unimaginable destruction. It begins with relentless rainfall. For months, the heavens open up, unleashing torrential downpours that saturate the land. The rivers swell, their waters rising at an alarming rate. Soon, they breach their banks, engulfing everything in their path. The floods arrive in stages, each wave more devastating than the last. Homes, farms, and entire villages are submerged beneath a churning torrent of muddy water. Estimates vary, but it is believed that between 2 and 4 million people lost their lives, either directly from the floods or in the ensuing famine and disease outbreaks. The 1931 China floods serve as a chilling reminder of the destructive power of water and the vulnerability of even the most populous and resourceful nations to the whims of nature. Chapter 5, 1883, Krakatoa's Fury. In the Sunda Strait, nestled in Sumatra lay Krakatoa, a seemingly unremarkable volcanic island. But beneath its tranquil exterior, a slumbering giant was about to awaken. In May of 1883, Krakatoa stirred, sending Then, on August 27th, it erupted with a cataclysmic force that shook the world. The eruption of Krakatoa was one of the most violent volcanic events in recorded history. A series of colossal explosions and the last ripped through the island, ejecting an estimated 25 cubic kilometers of rock, ash, and pumice into the atmosphere. The sound of Krakatoa's fury was heard thousands of miles away in the Indian Ocean and reaching as far as Australia and Mauritius. Volcanic ash, propelled high into the atmosphere, blanketed the region, plunging the surrounding areas into darkness. But it was the tsunamis, this final earth-shattering explosion, that caused the most widespread devastation. The eruption of Krakatoa claimed the lives of over 36,000 people, most of whom perished in the tsunamis. Chapter 6, 1970, the Bola Cyclone. The Bay of Bengal, a vast expanse of water in the Indian Ocean, is no stranger to cyclones. But on November 12, 1970, a storm of unprecedented fury, Cyclone Bola, emerged from the depths, unleashing its wrath upon the densely populated lowlands of East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Cyclone Bola, a Category 3 cyclone with winds exceeding 115 miles per hour, slammed into the Ganges Delta region, bringing with it a catastrophic storm surge that inundated low-lying coastal areas. The storm surge, a wall of water driven by the cyclone's powerful winds, reached heights of up to 40 feet, engulfing entire islands and inundating vast stretches of coastline. The impact was devastating. Homes made of bamboo and thatch were flattened like matchsticks. Crops were destroyed, livestock drowned, and infrastructure was crippled. The official death toll from Cyclone Bola is estimated to be between 300,000 and 500,000, making it one of the deadliest tropical cyclones in recorded history. The cyclone's impact extended far beyond the immediate loss of life, salinating vast tracts of farmland and contaminating drinking water sources. The Bola cyclone exposed the vulnerabilities of a densely populated and underdeveloped region to the destructive forces of nature. Chapter 7, 1906, the San Francisco Earthquake and Fire. Dawn breaks over San Francisco on April 18, 1906. The bustling city, a symbol of American progress and prosperity, awakens to a day that will forever be etched in its memory. At 5:12 a.m., the earth shudders, a deep rumble signaling the start of a catastrophe. The San Andreas Fault, a massive fracture in the Earth's crust, ruptures just off the coast of Northern California. The resulting earthquake, estimated at a magnitude of 7.9, sends shockwaves that ripple across the city and beyond. Buildings sway violently, their brick facades crumbling to the ground. Streets buckle and crack, gas lines rupture, and fires erupt across the city. The earthquake lasts less than a minute, but its aftermath will have a lasting impact on San Francisco. Fires, fueled by broken gas lines and exacerbated by a lack of water pressure, rage through the city for 3 days and nights, consuming everything in their path. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake and fire serve as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of even the most modern cities to the forces of nature. Chapter 8, 1986, Chernobyl, a nuclear nightmare. In the early morning hours of April 26, 1986, a disaster of unprecedented scale unfolded at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant near Pripyat, Ukraine. What began as a routine safety test at reactor number 4 spiraled into a catastrophic meltdown, releasing a plume of radioactive material into the atmosphere, forever changing the landscape and lives of those in its path. The explosion at Chernobyl was not a natural disaster in the traditional sense, but rather a man-made catastrophe with far-reaching consequences. A flawed reactor design coupled with a series of operational errors led to a sudden surge in power, causing the reactor core to overheat and rupture. The explosion ripped through the reactor building, spewing radioactive debris high into the atmosphere. The Soviet government, initially slow to acknowledge the scale of the disaster, eventually evacuated the nearby city of Pripyat, a ghost town frozen in time. The long-term effects of the Chernobyl disaster are still being felt today, with increased rates of cancer and a largely uninhabited exclusion zone. a legacy etched in time. As we've journeyed through these stories of unimaginable destruction, we're reminded of the raw, untamed power of the natural world and the vulnerability of even our greatest achievements in the face of its might. These disasters, etched into the geological and historical record of our planet, stand as somber reminders of the forces that shape our world. Yet amidst the devastation, a glimmer of hope emerges. From the ashes of tragedy, we witness the unyielding spirit of humanity, the resilience to rebuild, and the determination to learn from the past. As we move forward, let these stories serve as a call to action, to prioritize preparedness, to invest in resilient infrastructure, and to address the looming threat of climate change.